Hello. If you'd like to donate to this podcast, you can go to coffee.com/mostlyyoga, that's spelled ko-fi.com/mostlyyoga, to buy me a coffee to show your support for the show. If you decide to give me some pocket money, great, thank you very much. And if you don't, that's okay as well. This party is still free to listen to. I'm just as happy to do it regardless. Before we begin, this episode is brought to you by BC FLOWSTATE. Rediscover the way you move, feel, and perform through the use of natural and authentic movements that can help you build strength, regain your mobility, and reconnect yourself with your physical body. For content on mobility, movement, and just general feats of strength, check out his Instagram at BC FLOWSTATE. If you segue to next sponsor. So if you like chili, then spice up your life with this unique homemade cilantro chili by Red Dot Chilli Peppers. Red Dot Chilli Peppers. Ayo. If you can't go a meal without something spicy, then for the love of all things spicy and green and good, order yourself a bottle or 2 or 3 at her IG or Facebook page at Red Dot Chilli Peppers, the same name. All the links in the description below. Okay. So, the guest today, if you don't already know from the picture, from the trailer, is Carl. Carl has been one of the OGs in yoga movement. She's been teaching, I think, since it opened. I mean, not since it opened, like maybe when there was like one studio, when there was only carpenter there, I think that was when she sort of started. Anyway. I've met her a few times here and there. But us doing this podcast was probably one of the first times that we really got together to chat and to get to know each other, which is already a strange experience at the start, because like I feel like this podcast has opened so many doors for me when it comes to meeting new and interesting people, and then they just like invite me into their homes. So this is like a good way to commit a crime. You just tell people that you have a podcast, and then they'll just invite you in and you can steal their stuff. Anyway, back to so some backstory of how we decided to chat. I think I went to a class about 2 months back during the CB2 second circuit breaker thing. And then I think after class we were just chatting outside, and she shared, we were just catching up. Okay, how's life? How's COVID? Blah blah blah. And then she mentioned something about how she didn't love yoga or something along those lines, which we'll dive into as you listen to it later. But I guess that remark, that was my clock. So I guess that remark just sort of sparked that, like, what do you mean? Like, what that remark itself opened up so many questions that I wanted to ask, and you can see that this was one of the main themes that I kept trying to bring back into the conversation, because I kept wanting to know and understand more. Yeah, you'll get what I mean. We talk about it like in the first, I think, 10 minutes or something. So, yeah, Carl's a great person to chat with. I had a lot of fun doing it. I'm sure you will too. Without further ado, let's hear it for Carl Tong. Enjoy. Hello, Carl.
Hello, Aaron.
Welcome. Thank you for inviting me to your house. You have 2 lovely cats. I'm very excited to meet them. I didn't know. I came in and then like, okay.
I was going to tell you and ask you whether you were allergic or not. Thank goodness you're not, because they're like hyper-allergenic cats.
So there's one here that's just like looking at me. We don't know each other very well.
No, we don't.
And well, here we are. I think like one of the things that really made me feel very interested to want to have you on is because that one time after your class, when I spoke to you afterwards, it felt very familiar. It felt very easy to talk to you. And you gave me the impression that you were a very authentic person. And that's one of the things that I feel like I really want to have people like that on the podcast, because just being able to be yourself and to just share from that perspective, it's just a very interesting thing. And I felt that instant connection. So like I asked like, hey,
thank you very much.
You want to come on our podcast? And you said yes.
We're like friends now.
Yeah. So then it took a while for us to be here, but I'm glad that we are here.
Yes.
Okay, that aside.
This is like a very interesting first date for friends. So after this, then we have had our first friend date.
This is like our second official-ish conversation.
Correct.
No?
Exactly.
Like
Because before it was always hi bye.
Hi bye. We see each other at the studio. And
then you don't even teach at my studio anymore. So
the disappointment. All right. Let's start with some yoga questions.
All right.
How long have you been at YM? Quite long. You damn like 老家 already.
Yes, I have been at Yoga Movement for I want to say 7 years, maybe. I mean, I was there when they first started, but as a student. And I think I was there for like maybe 6 months as a student whilst I was doing teacher training.
Where? What's your teacher training?
My teacher training was at Real Yoga.
Ooh, okay.
It was real. And then after that, then I joined the teaching staff, and I've just been there ever since. Wow. I joined part-time in a part-time capacity for the longest time, and I literally just turned full-time 2 months ago.
Yeah, congrats.
So I graduated to full-time teaching.
Okay, lor. How has it, so you've been teaching for about, so wait, you started out a few years ago, however long ago.
Yes, correct.
But then you only started teaching at the same time? Like right after your TT?
Yes, exactly. Right after TT, I started teaching.
You felt confident with it?
I did.
Yikes.
I did.
Okay.
And I think that might not be due to the fact that I was super good at yoga, because I mean, I'm not super good at yoga, the asanas anyway, but that I was very confident to just teach, like to speak in front of people, to tell people what to do. Basically, I like to tell people what to do. So I felt confident to tell people what to do.
You had experience in teaching?
Yes, I've had experience teaching. I've had experience speaking in crowds to public. So that aspect of it just didn't faze me at all. And I just knew I had to make sure that, you deliver the lines / the cues for poses correctly. And, that would be that.
Yeah, that is something that I could tell the first time I met you. Like you had a very powerful presence, and it probably came from your background in presenting and all the other those roles that you played, where you had to be speaking to strangers or in front of hundreds of people. So that alone is a different kind of energy that you need to, or a unique kind of strength that you need to, a quality that you need to have.
Indeed.
Especially in the yoga teaching world.
Yeah, it's something that, I think a lot of people these days, and for a while, have been like, I want to find my bliss, I want to be a yoga teacher, and that stems from the fact that they love yoga so much, and they love what it does for them, and they want to share it. But then you don't realize that when you are a teacher, that's a completely different ball game to you loving the yoga. That's one hand. The other hand is being able to then articulate what you're trying to get people to do. And it's very, very different from just doing, a big fancy inversion pose. But, you want to be able to translate that into verbal cues, into alignment cues for someone else.
One of the interesting analogies that I've learned about this particular situation is that when you teach yoga, teaching yoga and doing yoga are two different things. Just like how eating food and learning to cook the food are two different things.
Exactly.
You can enjoy eating, but then that doesn't mean that you're good at cooking food.
No, and I love eating. I hate cooking.
So then to think that I like it so much, I'm going to be a teacher. Sure, that's a natural progression. Like if I like food so much, I want to learn how to cook my own food.
Exactly.
But then to think that, I can do the handstand and the arm balance translates to good teacher.
No.
That is not that doesn't correlate at all.
Not at all. I mean, obviously there has to be some love for the subject matter, in this case, yoga. But depending on how you love it, some people love it as a personal thing and they don't feel the need to, preach it to the world. And it's a very internal kind of like, this is my me time. And, and sometimes you forget that, like, finding this me time for yourself as, yoga, your practice on your mat, you love it so much you want to forsake all your other worldly things, like your other job, then you quit that. But then it's not your me time anymore if you become a teacher. It's other people's me time, And then that's that. And it's quite, in a way, like precious what you're holding. You are holding someone else's me time. And you need to be able to deliver to them what they are expecting for that 1 hour that they put aside for themselves.
That's interesting also, because people have that misconception that like, I want to quit my job and be this yoga teacher because it's very cool, a cool lifestyle and everything. Granted that it sort of is.
It is.
It is. It's unique. it's different. You're not at the desk all the time, but there is a responsibility that comes from any kind of teaching role, because you have to fit that role, and you have to not so much think about yourself anymore. Now there are other people that look up to you for guidance.
Exactly.
There was one thing I wanted to add on to what you said. So, you also brought up the part about how, like, you mentioned how, like, people go into it because there's a certain passion that they have for it. So then my next question, which is the dangerous question that I mentioned before. So, at our first conversation, you shared with me that you had a very unique relationship with yoga teaching. And you sort of, what did I write down here?
You just paraphrase what you think I said, and then I will correct you.
Like, I asked you like why you started teaching, and then, I just asked you, so how's your yoga journey? Then you told me like, I became a teacher. Then I said like, how is it? Then you said, I'm just teaching because I'm good at it, not because I like it, or something like that.
Fair.
Right? And then I wasn't like taken back or anything. I was just like, what do you mean? Because to teach yoga, to me, means that you need to sort of be very connected to it. You need to have a certain passion for it, to want to share it with other people. But yet, how is it possible that you can have that disconnect? Let's say you don't really, quote unquote, let's say you don't care for it.
Okay, let's say maybe it's not disconnect. Maybe it's just I have a different kind of connection to it.
Yeah.
So I would say that I'm a much better yoga teacher than I am a yoga practitioner.
Okay.
So I feel confident helping you learn and do a handstand than I can just hold a handstand by myself. You know what I mean? So I can't like, all right, everybody, now we're going to do handstand, and then I hop up into handstand. Ta-da! Look at this, But I am not, just because I can't do it perfectly, I'm not scared to help you do it.
Okay, there are two ways to look at it. You can still teach how to do handstands even though you can't do a handstand yourself. That is why that's like yoga, you can't be mastering all the things that you teach, right? So you can still teach even though you can't do it. But how can you then value add something that you don't know how to physically do? So how can I go around telling people being the handstand teacher when I myself can't do a handstand?
Okay, to be fair, I'm not the handstand teacher.
But so you teach what you know.
I would say teach what you know. Obviously, don't pull something out of your ass and say like, now let's do this pose that I've never even attempted to try before. Obviously, I would have attempted to try all these poses, and I think, okay, I can kind of do this. I can kind of, teach it. I think that this is something that would be good as part of my practice for the class, and then I would do it. I wouldn't just decide like, okay, today we're going to do this one, then we all learn together, okay? Because I never learned before, so which maybe one day will be a fun thing to do.
As a risky thing.
As a risky thing, of course, yeah.
So, would you say that you care about yoga?
Yes.
Would you?
I care about being a teacher. I care about being a good teacher. I care about making the students enjoy the class that they've just partaken in.
But do you enjoy practicing?
Not as much.
Oh, okay.
Not as much. I mean, when I go for a class, I'm like, I love it. I have a fun time. But it is not part of my everyday now. Once upon a time, when I first started teaching, when I first started into yoga, yes, I went to yoga every day. I went to, it was one of those things that, it was my me time. It was an hour a day that I would take to do a thing for myself. And then I started thinking, I would like to be a yoga teacher. And this is a thing that I tell all new yoga teachers. When you start being a yoga teacher, you are teaching the yoga. You are not doing the yoga anymore, because all the time and all the energy you would have before given to your own practice, now you are giving to other people's practice, and sometimes to your detriment. Then you feel like, I'm so tired to go and do my own practice already. And there's also a little bit of fatigue that comes with it. And I don't mean like physical fatigue. I just mean
energetically, right?
Correct.
There is a
correct,
because you're not doing 100 chaturangas in class. You're not burning yourself out in that way physically, and you're just like talking.
Yeah, just
talking
mentally,
should be okay.
and then at the end of the day, like for my me time, I don't want to go and do yoga already. I want to go and do Muay Thai.
That is a very interesting, and also you're not alone in this observation. as a yoga teacher, if you find that yoga is your safe space, you practice it to receive, right?
Yep.
But then when you become a teacher, you're giving.
Yep.
So then you give like 10 classes, 20 classes a
Correct.
week. Then you are spent. So then how do you replenish yourself? Do you go back to yoga? But then you've spent all day, all week at the yoga studio.
Yep.
You kind of want to not stay here anymore, right?
So
then,
whether it's finding another studio that is not in the same space
Right.
that you teach, or finding a whole other exercise that, fits you at that point in your life better, then
that's exactly how most people do it. Like,
yeah.
and you see that conundrum already, because then like, I love yoga so much that I want to teach it. Now teaching it so much, I can't even go to class anymore because I'm too tired
Correct.
or too sian to go back there. I have to go and do something else. So then if I don't keep doing more yoga, I lose inspiration, or my whatever. I just don't keep. I don't stay in this world anymore.
Yeah.
That I don't teach as well anymore. Then you start to
Correct.
drop.
Correct.
So
Then you
you're-
have to find that inspiration, and then maybe you
Yeah.
pop into other people's classes online in physical practice, and then you get inspired by other people again.
That's true, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's a very interesting thing. And people, me as well, I go through that phase where I'm there all the time. I'm teaching so much.
Yeah, especially since you are full-time, and now I've become full-time, and you totally
You see
like
the
deja vu
difference, yeah.
yourself every day. You're like, did we just do the left side? Are we doing the right side now?
You don't even know
Is
what
it
day is
yesterday?
anymore, yeah.
Did we do this sequence already? And it becomes so same. It's like Groundhog Day every day. Because how many times can you just change sequences around after a while? It's the same thing. You just need to, I guess, go to other people's classes. And sometimes I do find inspiration from my students, from the people in the class.
What do you mean?
Because some of them come quite regularly, and then you just you are there with them on their journey. And it's very cool to see them start to improve in a very tangible way. When they first started, then they're like, doing this, and they're not so, flexible, they're a bit stiff, or they're not so strong. And then after a while, they keep coming, and you have a connection with them, and then they start getting really good with their practice. And that is inspiring to me as a teacher, because then technically you've kind of like done your job, right?
So then would you say like that's one of the aspects of teaching that you enjoy, seeing people grow from that experience. Is it easy for you, or rather, what is your experience with teaching new people? So say these are the regulars that you can see them grow at the same time, and everybody has that experience with that first timer in the class.
Yes.
How is that, like, what am I trying to ask? How did you have to deal with it? And
Dealing with new people? I mean, I
Yeah.
like dealing with new people as well. I like welcoming them into yoga, And I think that I'm a very good starter yoga teacher.
Ooh.
You know what I mean? Because like I mentioned before, I'm not the best
Okay.
yogi in terms of lifestyle.
That's how you
everything also,
define it,
but
lah,
like,
yeah.
I'm not the best at the yoga practice.
Mm-hmm.
But I think I'm a very good welcomer of you into the yoga
I think
practice.
I know what you mean. Yeah, yeah.
And then after that, I will completely say like, look, I can't do this, but maybe Selena can do this, and you should go to Selena's class because she's great at teaching this stuff.
That's true.
Yeah, and everybody gets different things from different people, right? And some people like coming to my class just because of a certain style that I teach with, but it's not, they're not beholden to this. Obviously, anyone can go to any class, and I'm quite happy to share in terms of go somewhere else, try other things,
Yeah, you have to always try different teachers
Correct.
to get an experience of what else is out there. Like any other thing, right? If you keep staying with that one school or that one teacher or that one place, or you keep eating at the same place, so you will
Exactly.
never experience the
And I
other
think
things.
everyone finds different things from the practice after a while. Some people really like it for the physical aspect. Some people delve deeper and then they start to want to go more into meditation, more into spirituality. And I'm very happy to recommend you. There's so many other studios that deal with a lot more like pranayama. They deal a lot more with, meditations or chantings if you like that stuff as well. But whereas I would say I am the starter yoga teacher.
Okay.
Like
Makes
if you
sense.
come for my basics class, I'm very happy to have a chat with you afterwards and tell you more about this and tell you don't worry, never mind. cannot do, so never mind, just sit down and rest. Drink water lah. You want to drink water lah.
How did... So you were saying about how like different people eventually, the longer that they practice, they start to be drawn to more aspects of yoga and then they branch out. So how has your experience with yoga, or where have you branched out to?
I've branched out to, I think, deciding that I like sharing yoga with other people, in the sense that I really enjoy teaching. I like the act of teaching.
That's interesting. And this is coming from a practitioner. You're answering this as a practitioner.
Yeah.
Like as a yoga practitioner, I enjoy the aspect of teaching.
Yep.
Oh, that's interesting.
I mean, obviously, I like when you're practicing, you find that like internal self within you, and you find that space. But I also like sharing it a lot. I like helping people do things.
So then, what is yoga to you? It's very abstract.
Right now?
Yeah, right now.
At this point
as
in my
a
life,
teacher or
yoga is sharing.
Okay. So then in your class, I guess that is part of a theme of yours where you like to be inviting and you want to share what you know and to be welcoming.
Yeah, both before the asana practice and after.
And this is from someone who, what was the word? Who is a bit not disconnected. What was it? Who's not as invested in the practice itself.
Yeah.
Right? That's so strange. I'm still quite curious about that logic, you know?
I guess just to sum it up.
So if you could share some other skill besides yoga, that would be it also. You know what I mean?
No, not necessarily.
Yeah, so then,
not necessarily.
So then there's still some investment. There's still some...
Yeah, I like the tangible, and this is with my practice also. I like the tangible satisfaction of being able to do something physical. So, you practice, then suddenly one day you can do crow pose kind of thing. And then I like sharing that with people as well. And I like seeing the progression of the students being able to do it. And then one day they can do a tripod headstand. And I'm super happy that they can do a tripod headstand. So it's I guess it's one of those things where... Sorry, the cat just jumped up. I don't know if you heard that in podcast land.
Does that mean... So sharing is an act of giving and requires someone to be of a certain nature, to be of a caring nature.
Yeah.
So then to give and to share is... You know what I mean? So you had to be all right, I want to share it because I want you to grow and everything.
Yes.
So that's the nature of sharing.
Yep.
But then to share something that you're not as
invested in,
I feel it's a bad word to use, but it's like maybe not as interested. So
I think all that it is that I am not in love with yoga.
That was what you said. That was the word that you used. Yeah.
I'm just not. It's not like my everyday.
Yeah.
Like it's a job.
Yeah,
but it happens to be a job that I love doing.
Yeah, and you're good at as well. Yes.
I feel I am pretty good at it.
I second that lah.
Okay, but it's not like, oh my god, I want to be a skateboard. I want to be a I don't want to be a skateboard. I want to be a professional skateboarder, not a skateboard. But it's not a dream.
Yeah. But you see, that's so strange because there's the other side of it where people are like, oh my god, you're so I love that you can only work 2 hours a day. Yoga's so cool. I want to be a yoga teacher also.
I don't know lah.
Right?
I mean, like, I came from, my background is performing. So I came from jobs that were like that already, where I would perform. So I never sat in an office from 9 to 5. So I did not think I'm going to find yoga and I'm going to do it because it's going to afford me all this time and find my bliss. Because the tangible satisfaction that lots of yoga teachers like, I think, is also after you teach a class and to have students come up to you and say like, that was amazing, I had such a good time. Because you don't get that from your computer brief that you just spent, like hours typing out or shit like that. But because I was a performer, I get applause. Yeah. Every day I will get applause from staff. For the past 10 years, podcast land, I was working at Universal Studios as a performer. So the tangible satisfaction of smiling people who are there who have paid $70.
Yeah.
They are very happy to see. So then, you feel that. And as a human person in the world,
programmed into your mind.
it is such a nice feeling to have people happy for the thing you do, which office people maybe don't get.
Right.
And so to say like, I want to be a yoga teacher,
is you want that approval?
No, not for that approval, but just because they like it better, because they find their bliss.
It's more
or whatever.
gratifying.
It is more gratifying, but it wasn't that for me, because that was the only life I knew,
Right.
honestly. I just thought that it would be a fun side thing to do. That's how yoga started for me. I started as a
Okay.
part-time yoga teacher.
Another observation now that you've just said that. So being a performer and being in that space where people are always giving you compliments and applauding you for your what you do, how does that affect your ego? And right now, you don't seem like someone who's very egoistic. You don't seem like some riding on a high horse. I'm
No,
some
not at
super
all.
big shot.
Yeah.
You
Please
seem
lah,
like
I work in a theme park. It's not super big shot at all.
you seem super down to earth. And if let's say on a human someone who's not as in tune with that applause might feel that, oh, hey, everybody's clapping for me, I must be the super good, like a great person. People
No
must
lah.
love me.
No lah.
It might be, how actors.
Yeah,
they have
maybe
that-
some
that-
of them do, but like at the end of the day, you also know that, you've, for lack of a better word, you've performed a service.
Do you have colleagues who feel that way? The one that I've just mentioned, where it gets to their head.
To some degree, but I think most of us know
It's just
that it's a transaction,
Right.
That yields something like that. Mind you, sometimes the show is quite shit, and then everyone just looks at you and like, oh, like that lor.
You still have
or
to.
people walk away, you know. So the high is nice, the clap, the happy face, the like that was a great show. But then the opposite end of that is that like you're doing a show and then people stand up from their seat and walk out,
Yeah.
and you can see it, and you still bopian have to do the show. And how do you feel inside,
Right.
It's like if,
your
and
yoga
it wouldn't
teacher?
happen in a yoga teacher class. Chances are much less lah. You don't
Okay.
teach a class and suddenly someone like stand up, stare at you like, and then walk out of the class, right? It's not as much. Whereas, a big audience, people feel less like in the spotlight. So
Yeah.
they're like, oh, we're just going to leave lah. Let's go and eat ice cream now.
Yeah.
But as a performer on stage, you can still see them,
Yeah,
and then you have to suck it up and perform the show lah.
Right. I mean, I felt that way also in the yoga context where the evil eye,
Correct.
or the people that walk out.
Yeah,
or
I'm sure
whatever.
you have. I have had,
Yeah,
and then how you deal with it after that lah.
Yeah. And you would, and it's something so like, maybe as the practitioner or as the person walking out, you wouldn't think so much about it. You're just,
No, you
just like,
wouldn't.
I very hot. I think I want to go toilet or whatever. I'm just
Correct.
gonna go. Then like,
But as the teacher, sometimes your feelings are hurt.
yeah, you'd be like, oh no, why? What?
Yeah,
did
why?
I let you down?
Correct.
What are you gonna complain? What's
Correct.
wrong? What did I do wrong? Do you hate me? There's a lot of things that go on in your mind, and let's say this happens like half an hour through. You
Yep.
still got another half an hour. You're
Correct.
thrown off. You forget a sequence, and then you
Exactly.
just bomb from there already.
Correct. So that's where you have to suck it up and continue.
And that requires you to be in a very strong space internally, and like you have to be
Yeah.
full before
And
you
this
can
is,
give.
I guess this is where like my performing training comes in, because the show must go on, right?
Right.
For lack of a better analogy, for a yoga
That
class.
analogy applies to the yoga class. You can't just like stop. Hey, wait, I forgot let me look at my book. You can't be like, I tired. Like, can we just rest? You can't
Correct.
stop.
No.
You forget one side. You continue already.
Like I mentioned earlier, these people have put aside 1 hour of their precious day of stuff to come and do this for themselves. So you cannot just like muck around with that time.
That's true.
You owe them in a way.
In a way, I mean,
That time.
they've paid money.
Correct.
They've given you their time.
Yep.
They've traveled like whatever. If you live in Jurong or what, you come all the way to CBD to go for your class. If I have kids, I gotta put them in the
Correct.
pay more money just to
Yeah.
be here. Or I have to take leave. I take
Yeah.
off. I
And
cancel a meeting.
And
or
if you
whatever.
are late, if you look like you're not engaging
You're
with
just-
them,
yeah.
if you're anything, it's just very disrespectful to their time, and to yours, honestly, and to yourself.
So then, let's say we both agree that as a yoga teacher and to give in that space requires a lot of that energy.
Yeah.
So then, how how would you, like, how to say it? How can you still give without being in love with the thing?
Okay. How can I pretend to be a mouse when I am a human person? Say I was performing in a show.
Okay. Oh,
You
okay,
are
okay.
acting.
Right.
You know? And so sometimes, and another thing, I used to also do a lot of voiceovers for
Okay,
for
so you need to be in that space
shows,
also.
for cartoons, for stuff like that. So I'm very used to working with my voice, and a lot of the time, if you just put energy in your voice, I don't care how you feel inside. You fake it until you make it that way, and then you start to take on the energy of what you're putting out, even if it's fake to start. You know, like because obviously when you're a performer, some days are nice, some days are shit. Horrible things have happened to you, but you are still going out there and doing the show where you're like, welcome everybody, I'm so happy, da 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 da. You're not happy, but also you have to say you're happy, right? And then you're smiling, and scientifically facts have been proved. You just keep smiling, your body will just tell your brain you are a little bit happier. You know what I mean? If you just keep smiling, you just keep putting out the energy, then after the show, you're like, I was a bit sad just now, but I do feel better now.
That's
and
true.
It's the same with teaching, I think. Even if you don't feel good, it's still your job as a yoga teacher to put it out there and teach in the energy befitting the class.
There are times when I am super bummed that when I teach the class, that was one of the best class I've taught. Maybe because at that moment I felt very vulnerable and I shared from that space.
Maybe. Or maybe you told yourself also, okay, I can't let everyone be bummed.
Yeah.
And you put in a little bit more effort to bump up that bum, which then
Your own self,
became correct.
Yeah,
you hype yourself
hype
up.
yourself up, yeah.
And then it just translated very well.
There are also times when I'm sian and I go in and I'm even more sian.
Correct.
So it's,
some days that just happens. What
Right.
to do? I mean, that's life, right?
So then that to me is very energetically draining. If I'm already down, I go in, I'm more down, or on about then on the flip side, if I'm down, I go there, get picked up.
Yeah.
But then, energetically, how do you sustain that? So, we were talking about how, as a full timer, or rather, if you keep giving and giving, your cup's gonna be empty.
Yep.
So then, how do you manage your energy? Is there something that you do? Like say you went to Muay Thai or you did something else outside of it, right? Are there any tips?
A lot of me time, I guess. A lot of me time because teaching is an hour of you putting out there into the world at quite a high frequency. Same with performing. When I'm not teaching, when I'm not performing, I'm just sitting quietly by myself. I don't need a lot of company. In fact, I don't really like companies. I just want to sit quietly.
The first time I saw you at YM, I was a student and I think I didn't really know who you were. And then you were at EC and you were sitting underneath the table.
Correct, yes.
And then you're knitting.
Yes,
then
I was crocheting, Aaron. One needle, not two. Get it right.
So I was like, I went to the front and said, hey, is that Coral? And she's like, yeah. Then I'm like a bit scared to talk to you, so then it's like, okay, never mind, I stop. Because I was just
say I'm very scary.
quite tao. But then like when you know already,
no, it's just my resting bitch face. That's all.
Okay, and that is true. You defend your personal, not personal space. You defend your personal time very well.
Yes,
and
I need a lot of personal time. I'm one of those people that's very happy to go and watch movie by myself, sit down and drink coffee for 3 hours by myself.
And I've seen you do it. Like
Correct.
At TB, I look across your desk.
I'm just sitting there quietly by myself. I don't like to, because I do like to engage with people. And when I do engage with people,
It's
I think
100%.
that I'm engaging quite 100% with you. I don't want to like pretend engage with you, even though I was just on my phone when I sorry. My brother just asked me something.
Yeah.
But yeah, so to be able to do that, the downtime is the complete opposite now.
Right.
I don't want to talk to anybody.
This is all not new to me. I feel the exact same way. I can relate to all the things that you just said, from the point of wanting to give, wanting to fill up your cup, finding alone time, doing something else besides yoga to replenish yourself.
Exactly.
All this is something that I have experienced. I have slowly discovered it on my own, and I have like, okay, so then I need to do this. I need to to hide under the table and to be by myself.
Exactly.
And this is very important because you can't give from a space of nothing. You can't give nothing to if you have nothing.
Exactly.
You need to, and that is like almost a responsibility for the teacher.
Exactly.
You can't
To
go
take
and
care of yourself.
yeah, you can't go and chiong the night before. Then
Nope.
tomorrow morning you go 7 a.m. Then you
Nope.
go up there and you are.
Can you imagine? That is my biggest fear, honestly. One of the biggest fears, okay? That I show up late for a 7 a.m. class.
It is
Because
a
it's
fear.
such a big responsibility. People have woken up to come,
Yeah.
and then there are like a whole bunch of people standing outside the door, and you're like, sorry.
It's already sets the tone.
Yeah,
Even if
it
you started
really sets
teaching,
the tone.
you're flustered.
Exactly.
People are like, well, this guy fucking made me wait 10 minutes.
Exactly.
You know? And have you ever been late?
I've been late once.
It's a horror
It was
feeling.
horrible. You really feel so
There's nothing you can do
so
some more.
shame. So
Shame.
much shame. You feel so shame, and then you're like, I'm so sorry. There's no good reason unless, touch wood, somebody has like gotten into a
Yeah.
terrible accident and like something horrible has
That you
happened.
can have an
There is
excuse,
no
right? Yeah.
you don't need to excuse already. You just say,
Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
That's all.
Because most of the time it's you forgot, you woke up late.
Correct.
And this is natural. Like in any working environment, you just, oh, sorry boss, I woke up late. But there's no
But
consequence. You
no,
just show
there
up half
isn't.
an
But
hour.
in this case, there are people who are waiting on you,
Yeah.
and that feeling is very not nice.
And to think that they had to go through all that trouble, 5
Correct.
a.m. wake up,
Correct.
send the kids to bed or to school, go to your class, and then you're not fucking there. What the fuck?
I know.
Yeah, and
Then
that,
even then at that point also, even if like the studio comps them a class or you give them extra 15 minutes, I mean they have work, they have stuff to do for the rest of the day also.
and now they bring that, they carry that
Correct.
throughout the whole day already because they had no release in the morning.
No. So that's one of those big things where I'm like, if you are on time, you're late.
I agree. I've been late once unintentionally.
Unintentionally.
Yeah.
I mean, no one
Most of the time
sets out.
no
No one
one's
sets
purpose-
out.
yeah.
It doesn't mean that you don't feel the horror
Yeah.
of it.
And I always come like half an hour before
Mm-hmm.
my classes to ground or to just be around, like not be late lah. I don't
Yeah.
like to like 2 minutes that I show up, right?
Correct.
I like to half an hour.
I also like to kepo the people who are coming for my class.
because you need to suss them out. You need to see
Correct,
what I want to
correct.
plan, right?
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
always come up. Then that day when I was late, I thought I was like, well, I reached there, confirm half an hour early. I can slowly take my time. Then I think who is it? Alex called me. Then he's like, hey, are you caught on the way? I'm like, I mean, I just left the house. It's, dude, your class is at 7. I thought it was 7:30 or something like that. Then xiao liao, there's no,
Correct.
that's it already, cannot recover.
Correct.
I take cab also cannot reach there.
Nope.
That's it all. Then like, oh shit, I call Amy, I call Mian. Then like they just, like that lor.
Nothing to do.
Just go there.
Yep.
That's it all.
Then you just walk there and you do the shame walk in and everybody.
Yeah.
And then the worst is when everybody's nice to him, like, oh, it's okay. Then but no.
Yeah.
No.
Because there are then like it's also like you put the front desk, they have to go and like sorry guys, the teacher's
Correct. And the
not
front
here.
desks are so poor thing
Then
to
if-
have to go and do
yeah,
that. And
and
if
then-
they have to deal with a person who is
Yes.
shitty, then very poor thing.
Yeah, because then now they're thanking for you. You know, and it's not their fault.
No.
And it's also like the guy is like, but I came what? Why your teacher not here? You know, and he has every right to be angry. Maybe he
course.
dealt it in a negative way.
Yep.
But then it's still like you understand. And
Yep.
then how, you know?
Yeah, and the poor front desk bears the brunt of that.
Front desk hates you, students hate you. YM now has to fucking like there's
There's a monetary
loss,
thing.
there's a
Yeah,
loss.
correct.
And then like you know you
It's not a good feeling.
It's not a
lah.
good feeling,
I mean,
yeah.
like, very few people can be like, oh, okay lah, like
you know,
that. You know?
you imagine that, and then you go to then the next class you like,
Correct.
hi everybody, you know, you have to go high again.
Yeah.
It's strange lah.
Yeah. I tell you what though, I just had a baby last year and now 7 a.m. classes are no problem because I am already up.
at 4 a.m. You're already up at 4 a.m. What's the deal?
Yes, correct. I have been up for hours.
How's it like being a mom?
It is okay.
Mediocre.
It is okay. It is everything you thought it would be.
And much more and much worse, I
And
guess.
yeah. It's okay. I mean, being a mom is okay.
You had cats before already, right?
I had cats
so that's
before.
sort of like being a cat
No.
mom. No?
Having cats is just like having things in the house that take care of themselves.
That's true. They do take care of themselves. They're
Yep.
quiet. They don't wake you up at 4 in the morning. They don't
Oh,
need
mine
anything.
do. Mine do.
Is
My
it?
cat is actually very needy, but at least I can like say, go away. And it's not child abuse.
Why? You seem more like a dog person.
Really?
Has anybody told you that?
No.
I feel like you have that. Oh wait.
No. No. I really dislike needy things.
Okay, now I get it. Yeah,
Yeah. I don't like
Yeah.
things that need me.
yeah.
I like to be by myself.
Okay, makes sense.
Yeah.
I like to be by myself as well. I don't like needy things. I like
My child is the exception. Even then,
Unfortunate.
even then, I would not become a mother again.
ooh.
No. I mean, I did it, and then I'm like, I'm happy I did it, and I love my child to death, but it's
One
not
is
something that I would be like, oh yay, second child for me. I'm like, no, I'm done.
That's a very wise thing. But can you tell me why? Like, just because, I mean, you're a mother already,
Yeah.
regardless
Yeah.
whether you have 2 or 3 or 10.
Correct.
Why? Let's say I'm a kaypoh auntie. Oh yeah, have more lah. Do lah. Give him some company. Give him a
correct.
brother or sister. What's your response then?
Well, I would say
Intellectually,
like,
if you could.
Auntie Erin, thank you. Please mind your own business.
But
it
is
is-
there a particular reason why? Or is it just like internally? I just don't want.
Okay, monetarily, we're in Singapore.
Okay.
I find Singapore to be an extremely expensive place. To be able to do the things that I currently do with my husband and live the life that we live, I think if we have one child,
No more.
I can
already.
still do those things. Ish, a little bit less, but ish. But if I had 2 children, then how? We long jump past who go university lo? I'm a yoga teacher, Aaron. We don't make that
We're
much
not.
money.
We're not driving around.
We're not.
Yeah.
We are not.
We're humble. We sit in the mountain. Minimalist.
Correct.
I get it. I share the same sentiment.
Also, on a not financial note, and this is just a personal me note, I don't know that I can give more of myself to someone else. Having said that, obviously, if I suddenly became pregnant again and had to have another baby, then I'd be like, okay, lah, bo pian, have another baby, and then I will love it also. But were I to control it, then I would be like, that's it, you are an only child.
That's a very bold thing to say, and I think it's also a brave thing to say, because
I think there's just stigma and weird taboo things that like people are like, oh, you cannot say that lah. But I would say that I like being a mother. I don't love it. It's not my favorite thing in the world that I became. But I think being a mother is not the same as I went skydiving. I love skydiving. It's such a fleeting moment. Being a mother is just like,
it's forever.
I'm a Chinese person.
Yeah.
I am a mother.
Yeah.
Do I love being a Chinese person? Some days I wish I was, a something else person. It's
It
different.
just is lah.
It just is.
It doesn't define you in any way. Oh, being a mother doesn't instantly make you nurturing and kind
No,
and caring.
not at
It just
all.
means you have a
Child.
kin.
Yeah,
That's all it
exactly.
means. It
Yeah.
has no bearing on your personality.
Nope.
You could be a terrible person, but you're still a mother.
Yes.
So then, almost to say one is enough because of my financial status or my ability to give or just the state of the world today. Do I want to bring
Yeah,
another child to this
exactly.
world? The thought of that already shows that you're a good mother.
Yes, I guess so. Just the thought behind it, just thinking about it.
But that is the root of all. That is the root. What is your intention already? What
The thought of it,
I care about this, about bringing a person into this world so much that I need to be able
thought
to
so much
I
about
need
it.
to provide. If I can't provide, then no, I will not, because then to do
But
so
you cannot
would be
say that because that discounts the mothers who have had children since 10 million years ago, since much, much younger, and then they've just had lots because that's how it is.
But that's a different time,
Mm-hmm.
different financial era, and different what do you call it, like era, because back
I
then.
don't know, maybe you will get a lot of mother listeners who will then write in and be like, Evan, you cannot say that. Okay, I have 4 children, I love them all.
But back then, 10 kids is just like
Exactly.
everybody had 10
Yeah.
kids. It's no big deal. But then again, the mouths were easier to feed. Some kids didn't go to school and it was no big deal.
Mm-hmm. No.
That it was a Wild Wild West lah last time.
I mean, it is the right decision for me and my husband.
Beautiful.
For someone
beautiful.
else, maybe it's
Yeah.
in the exact same financial situation, but they can still give more. Then of course, then
Right.
go ahead. But I don't know. Who's to say lah, Aaron? Maybe by the end of the year I'm pregnant again. I don't know.
Yeah. But as of now,
As of now,
fucking
as
like
of now,
2020,
correct.
25th September,
Yeah,
this is your
and
stance,
I
lah.
was an only child. I have a brother actually, but I was an only child. And
What is it? What do you mean?
we are very far apart in terms of age. So we're 11
okay.
years apart.
Okay.
And so I grew up as an only child. And then my brother grew up as an only child. You know what I mean? Because we were both children at very different times.
Right.
So it's like my brother had 3 parents. You know,
okay.
because then I moved out fairly early, so my brother was still a child, so he had my parents all to himself. I had my parents all to myself for a goodly amount of time, and I really liked it. I liked being an only child. I have lots of cousins that I'm very close to, and my son will have lots of cousins that he's also going to be close to / friends, whatever, and you know, it is what it is.
That's true.
I just owe him more, lor. Make sure he don't become a spoiled only child.
Yeah. Slap him.
Yes, correct.
Okay. Huh. That's nice. I like it. I agree with all your rationale. What were we talking? What did we start about children? Waking up early, being late. Okay. Huh.
Yeah, I mean, we veered a bit away from yoga, but I mean, I guess that conversation makes people realize what kind of yoga teacher I am.
An authentic one who cares enough to be realistic. Yeah.
Ish.
Yeah. I mean, the idea, or rather the stereotype of a yoga teacher is to be that Lululemon wearing, slim,
correct,
backbending.
Yeah, and these days Instagram posting.
Yeah.
And you know what? No shade on the people who do that, because that looks great, and I also go and like look at that. But that is not me, and I could not replicate that same thing. And yeah, and you know, I mean, like my bliss these days is not doing yoga.
Right.
You
and
know?
that's and again, I feel that is very both interesting. I'm very curious about that, and it's a very like.
But just because I say that does not mean that then it's the negative,
yes,
right?
Exactly.
Don't jump to the negative.
Exactly, because when this one topic feels like there's so many levels to it, and I wanted to like, keep exploring it because you saying you don't love yoga
does not mean
you hate yoga.
Exactly.
Then that contradicts everything, because you are. Then why would you teach yoga?
Me saying I don't love being a mother does not mean I hate being a mother.
Exactly, and that doesn't mean that you don't love your child in any.
No, of course.
It just means that
I love you, yoga students.
I mean, because if I'm a dad, okay,
that you know of, Aaron.
Yeah, and if I have a kid, there'll be days where like, wow, this is I can't believe this young little thing I created this, and there are times where like fucking like I can't do anything. This thing is tying me down.
Correct.
There are days when you can hate being in that position.
Yeah, of course, because you're a human person.
Exactly. So then the misconception of being a Piao Piao Om Shanti Shanti yoga teacher who is vegan and like don't eat meat and like very activist, that is the cookie cutter idea of what a yogi is, with the Om t-shirt and like dreadlocks or whatever.
So I mean, I guess then I'm not a yoga teacher that way because I don't subscribe to those things. But it doesn't mean that I don't enjoy those things. Once in a while, I like going to a Shanti class and chanting together. I like chanting. No, actually, I'm a very good chanter. It's just
that project.
Correct. But that's not my practice.
That's true. So then you are in a way, by being yourself, you are challenging the image of what it means or what it looks like to be the conventional.
I think more and more there are people out there who are enjoying yoga this way, you know, and I do think that places like home yoga, like yoga movement, are doing that, where we are not like, okay, yoga is only a ting 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 Om Shanti Shanti place, right? Because once upon a time when I first started doing yoga, that was what it was, and I was the one of the people who were like, the teacher would be like, close your eyes and now we're going to chant. Then I would open my eyes and giggle and stare at people and be like, hee 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 hee. That kind of like childish person. You know, and obviously you can come into a space like that and respect that, but maybe that's not for you, and then you just be quiet and enjoy the silence or enjoy their chanting, or secretly laugh inside yourself, but secretly laugh.
Yeah. I mean, you can still, like say, to the uninitiated, going to a class and everybody's like waving like
it is
chanting. It's very weird.
It's very weird, and it's also very intimidating.
Yes.
And that's why I say, like, coming to a yoga, and I would say that I'm a very welcoming person that way. Maybe when you see me sitting by myself, I don't look so welcoming, but when I'm in the class, I'm fairly welcoming. I would like to think. Please correct me if I'm wrong, students. But like for a basics class, or for like something with lots of beginners, I feel like I would try and give you all the easiest things, and then I wouldn't, being wrong, quote unquote, in the pose, unless you look like you're severely going to injure yourself, I'll just leave you be, because I think the first step that they took to come into class when they don't know what yoga is about is already very daunting. And then to have someone constantly come like, no, it's like this, no, like that, no, you're doing it wrong. They're already coming from a place of vulnerability where they are there doing a weird pose in front of everybody, in front of a mirror, with you judging them that way. So
next to the person who is
who
like
could possibly
Yeah.
is a like
super
Correct.
super like that. It's been doing it for 10 years already. Then
So,
like you look at
yeah,
yourself.
so-
and really, is it so dangerous if your knee is past your ankle?
Exactly.
Does it really matter?
At that
Do you
point,
need to
no,
go there and
correct.
adjust 10,000 times to let the
No.
guy feel like, oh shit, I must be terrible at yoga.
I must be
that's why
terrible.
you're
I'm
here."
not going to come back.
Exactly.
So I mean, if you want them to come back, then you just be like, sure, and then this is a great chat with them afterwards. You find out if this is the thing that they love doing, and sometimes it progresses into the thing that they love doing. Sometimes, and most of the time, it starts out as the thing that the doctor said will help strengthen your spine because you run too much, whatever.
And there are a lot of yoga teachers who start out because of that. Or rather, they go to their first class, they hate it. Oh, this sucks. This room's
They
so
hate it,
hot.
yeah.
The teacher is shit.
Correct. I
being shitty
hated it,
to me. Yeah, and then like 1 year later you try it again under a different,
And
maybe a more mature,
You find the space, you find the time, and the energy, and
you get it, right?
Yeah.
Maybe it wasn't your
Yeah.
time at that
or
point.
maybe, or maybe that person leading the class wasn't someone you clicked with.
Right.
And I would like to be open and engaging and sharing enough that people are like, okay, this feels like a safe space. This feels like a welcoming space. This feels like a space that if I cannot do, then never mind. I sit down and rest and watch other people do. It's okay.
So you teach from that place of experience also where like, I like this, so then I will teach it because I know that I receive it well.
Correct.
Maybe someone else will receive
Yeah.
it well. And I think that's, again, that is the most, the best way in a way in its core, a great way to
Correct.
teach.
And I think in terms of like, I'm not very purist about it. So I'm not very, no, we must do it like that. And then now we must be silent. And now we must, and then don't like do this at this point kind of thing. And I'm quite like, okay, never mind, you just do, Especially if it's a bunch of newer people,
Because you can't be enforcing them to
No.
do something that they are not comfortable with,
Exactly.
If they giggle or what, it's just their way of handling
Breaking
that.
the tension at that
because
point.
like, this is kind of weird, and then they giggle to the other
Their
friends.
I'm not going to be like, excuse me, no
please
talking.
Obviously,
Obviously, you can tell the people who are constantly
Nicely
doing
lah,
that,
yeah.
also.
Yeah.
But it's fine. I'm not about to break the flow and stop a class
Yeah.
because of something like that.
Okay. It might come to a point where it's very distracting. They're
No, of
just
course.
chatting all the way.
Correct. But you also know the difference between someone giggling because they are shy for the thing that that, and then you let that one go, and then another person just like, and then this Adrian say that that like that's a totally different thing already, right? When you
That's true. How are some ways that you have to deal with people who chat?
usually, I think because I have quite a forceful nature about me.
Okay.
Nobody is chatting in my class.
Okay.
If they are, then maybe then I'll be like, I will usually just be like, I don't even know what I say because I don't even know if I ever said anything like that before. I don't think I have.
Okay. There are times when I have people chatting in my class, and I think whenever weird things happen in my class, I don't know what to do, and I sort of let it slide. And then I'll
Right.
go and like think back on it, or I'll ask people like, hey, this guy was using his phone for the whole half an hour, and I didn't know what to do. I just didn't know how to handle that situation.
Right.
And then the more experienced teachers will say like, oh, you can say this, or
Yep.
you can say that.
I
or
mean,
you
I
can
guess
just
it's
stay your
almost
phone
like
away.
it's like the comeback that you only think of
Yeah,
hours
yeah,
later,
yeah.
right? But then you think about it like, what's the funny thing I should have said?
Yeah,
but
yeah.
for this, it's the same,
Exactly,
like
yeah.
like someone using their phone throughout class. I also am not. I'm not very like paiseh to just tell people.
okay.
Tell people, excuse
Yeah.
me, no this.
Hello.
Yeah.
Please.
Yeah. But obviously, I think I think I do it in a fairly
Firm way lah. Firm but gentle.
Yeah,
And that is also part of
because
your persona.
sometimes people don't know. They really don't know. So you don't want to be like, no phones.
Yeah.
Or like,
怪人家.
yeah, correct. Or I'll just be like, and sometimes to not break the flow in the class already, I would just be like, can you just turn your phone upside down? And then for the rest of the class, just don't look at it. But you don't need to say that, like, because when you say, I'll just put the phone upside down, okay?
Okay.
And then just like smile at them, like,
he gets the idea.
yeah, he gets the idea already.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, there are ways to handle it
Correct.
in a passive way.
Yeah, I mean, mind you, like the cases that have been quite intense, like sometimes in some studios that are quite crowded, I've ever had a lady like stop in the middle of suddenly poses,
Just check her phone.
Yeah, not to check her phone, because I had told her, oh, could you just move back a little bit, just in case the person, the
Kicks
lady
you,
in front kicks you in the
yeah.
back, no, sorry, I told her move forward just in case she kicks the lady in the back or
okay.
something like that. And then I remember, then like 3 or 4 poses later, she like stands up in the class. She's like, excuse me, then why you never look out for me? What if she kicks me in the front?
Oh my goodness.
And it was one of those moments that breaks the whole class.
Yeah.
Everyone stops and everyone is slightly like
Huh?
awkward and
Yeah.
like, what's happening
And
now?
then now they look at the situation.
Now they look at the
and then they look
situation.
at you like, what are you going to do now?
And then I'll be like, yes. So I can't remember what I said, but I said like, oh, don't worry, like she won't kick you. We'll just space out and then continue the class.
Fucking
Correct, but it was quite a large moment in the realm of like
spoil the whole mood already.
and then everyone, but then just to try and make everyone, I mean, everyone is still paid money to do the class, right? You can't then be like, oh, I'm so scared now, and so it was just continue. And then after class, I pulled her aside and I said, "Is everything okay? Are you okay?" I was just checking because
Right.
and I spoke to her, and then she was just like, "Oh yeah, it's okay." Then she walked away. Yeah, I think she had a little like paiseh moment of like, like at that point I was a bit mad, and now but also I don't want to like
make a fuss.
Yeah, correct. So I let it go, and I've. This was years ago, but then I remember seeing her in class again. So it's not like I hate her. I never come to her class already,
Okay.
So then I just left it.
Wow, okay.
But it is a big moment.
Yeah.
And even me being fairly confident to dealing with things like that.
I mean, you won't
it
know
takes
that
you
this
out
kind
of it. Yeah, it takes you out of it. Like, shit, did I really like, what did I do? Was it, like...
And you're thinking about it throughout the whole class.
Correct, but there's nothing... It couldn't have played out any other way because, and how you've told 50 people, please move forward a bit so you don't kick the person behind you. Then they're like, okay. And then
no big deal.
No big, and then you get the
like,
one person who is like, what if the front person kicks me? Why you never take care of me that way?
Such a strange way for that person to have like addressed it in that way so publicly.
Because usually, and I mean this is a Singaporean generalization, people also like don't, right? People are a bit more passive aggressive, so they don't, maybe they shoot you dirty looks and they write you an email afterwards. But to stand up and to like
and for her to like, this is not her first class, she sort of knows the etiquette of
I don't know if it's her first. I'm sure it wasn't lah.
Yeah.
That's why I pulled her aside after the end of class and I said, obviously not in a excuse me, what you want to fight? Kind of, I asked her nicely and I was like,
strange.
is everything okay? Because maybe you had a bad day.
Yeah.
Maybe shit happened to you. I don't know.
You never know what
you never know your life, But she said it was fine. At that point, it still wasn't like, yay, we're friends now.
She's a bit embarrassed.
I don't know if she was, but she's been back to she came back to a class since then. So
because like it's a strange. So like you were watching out for the person behind her in case she kicked. And then, so you just say, hey, just be careful about the person behind her. Yeah. Just like, hey, like, just a little quick, nudge, nudge.
Yeah, like how you would just tell someone to just,
hey, watch out, don't fall into the hole, whatever. Yeah. And then she's like,
I don't know, maybe she thought I said it to her in a
rude way, right? Then she
or maybe she just thought.
Because for her to respond in that way, then she's like,
she must have been aggravated by something like how I said it. And maybe, I to my knowledge, I can't think of how I said it.
I don't think it was.
No, I mean, obviously it wasn't
just
like,
her perspective. How she received it, and she felt like, okay, maybe you're being rude, or
or maybe I don't know, maybe she was embarrassed by me calling her out and saying something like that.
Or maybe she was genuinely concerned. Then what if the person really kicked me? How come we never tell the person? Hey, maybe it was a cry for help. Yeah. But then it's just whatever it is.
It is, but I mean, like I say, these things happen. Yeah. That is a very few and far between thing. Most of the time you just get people maybe chatting to their friend or secretly looking at their phone, and then they know that they're in the wrong, so they and then they just go back to do their thing.
They stop it already. Once you catch them, they stop it lah. If they for them to do it again, it's like they're taunting you already. But that you'd be surprised at how small things can throw you off in a class. Like I had people do clang 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 the bottle too loud, then it's like everybody can hear it. I had a lady who was spraying something. I thought at the start of the class she was spraying, so I thought it was like some sanitizer thing. Yeah. Then every like 10 minutes she'll just break out of downward dog and spray, and then whole class is silent, just like, pss, 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 pss. And it's not like squeak 2 times, it's like 10, 20 times, pss, 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 pss. And like I thought like, why are you cleaning it so much? It was she's trying to wet her mat to make it more grippy. Right. But she was doing that, but she wasn't actually doing that. She was just doing that to rest. Yeah. So she's like she's not a very strong practitioner. Yeah. I think I've seen her only twice or what. So she would always just, like, she want to
But
rest.
paise to
But she
rest.
paise to rest. So then, like,
Yeah.
like, it's, first of all, it's okay, just
Yeah.
rest, no big deal, no shame, no ego blow. The ego blow is to yourself. It's you need to face that on
Yeah.
your own. But it's also then why are you distracting? Because then I start to see everybody from down they're looking up, looking and checking where's the sound coming from.
Yeah.
And I didn't know how to handle it. What am I supposed to say? Don't spray your mat. And what should I have said at that point? But then I guess a very generic and a great and compassionate way is to just, everything okay? Is everything okay?
Is everything okay?
Yeah.
Just check. And sometimes that breaks them out of the like
hey,
yes, everything's okay.
yeah, yeah,
Or,
and-
like, I guess is everything okay? If you need to take a break, just go and take a break.
Yeah.
It's fine,
And if everything is okay, and then she says, yeah, everything's okay, then you realize it as the spraying person, like, yeah, what am I doing? Everything's fine. Go
Yeah,
back to it.
Yeah. And sometimes, as a teacher, and maybe as a new teacher, you let things throw you off that you don't realize the students are not thrown off by.
Yes.
you
Yes,
know?
yes, yes.
Yeah, some of the students are, and a lot of the time also, and this is the thing, when you start teaching also, sometimes you just say nonsense sometimes. Like you teach, then you're like, you say a nonsense thing, or you say something wrongly. And if you're constantly saying the word sometimes, like I've taken, take 2 deep breaths. Breaths. Yeah, just sometimes. And then sometimes everybody laughs, you laugh also lah. But sometimes you realize nobody
even heard it.
Nobody even
Yeah.
heard it, because if you are clear enough, and this is what I like to tell the yoga teacher training people, that sometimes if you just see lah, if people don't actually react to it, then you just continue. Don't let it throw you off. It hasn't thrown them off, because if you are clear and concise in your
If you
directions
deliver it
and
lah.
if you have delivered it clearly to that point, they're just going to like hear the keywords. Okay, downward dog. Okay, right leg up. Okay, left leg up. And all the other things that you are saying, sometimes it's a little bit white noisy in a way. In a good way.
In a good way, yeah.
Because they are so trusting
still-
in
yes.
your directions already, that they just let it go. Their brain is just
Switched off
switched
lah.
off to your
Flow
cue.
state already, oh?
Correct.
Yeah, I'm just in this very moment.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good and bad. Sometimes you can say, like, say there are times when I say like, hey, do you know I forget the sequence? Then they're like, no, I didn't even notice that you forget
Yeah.
one thing on this side. So like, oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Then there's also times where like I almost need them to guide me. So let's
Yeah.
say if I forget something, then I know I forgot something.
Yeah, I would just say, did I forget something? Then
Yeah.
somebody will say,
Somebody
you
will
got
say
this one.
something,
you know,
yeah,
just- And if you just do it that way in
Yeah.
a confident way, as and you are a person also, people know.
Yeah, you
Obviously,
make
if you forgot
mistakes.
half your class, then people are like, this
Yeah.
person. But once in a while, you just do a thing. Or you're more, like,
Just had a bad day or whatever lah.
yeah, or just your practitioners who come quite a lot will just shout out to you like, you forgot this, and I'm like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah. That helps sometimes with the regulars, just like giving you a little like, hey,
Yeah.
you sure? They'll still do it.
Yeah.
You can see them still doing
Yeah.
it, but then there's a hesitation like, hey, decide.
But because then you see them do, then you're like, oh yes,
Yeah,
this.
you sense
do
that
this.
hesitation.
Yeah.
They're like, hey, no, the other way. Then they, okay.
Yeah. So, yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of verbal cue, visual cue on your part and on theirs, the students also,
There's trust that they put that trust in you. You also can put
Yeah.
that trust in them lah,
Yeah.
to take care of themselves, to in a way hold space for you, to help you if you fuck up.
Yeah. And I mean, and it ties back to also like the energy in yourself, right? As the teacher, on the days that you don't have energy, sometimes you go to a class and the students are all super on, and there's and the energy of them feeds you also.
Yeah.
And then you're like, well, I feel much better.
Yeah.
Obviously, the converse sometimes is true lah. When the energy of the class, for some reason, you just feel it like
It's just weird lah.
it's not working out. Then you really need to work a little bit harder to like put the oomph
Yeah.
in it.
That's true.
Yeah.
Every teacher will go through that sort of phase, and that's something that they just need to
Yeah.
overcome.
Yeah, and the point and the key to the whole thing is to have at least a consistent base energy that you as the teacher can always pull out of your ass.
Which is self-care lah, right?
Yeah. You
Having
just
your
always
me
need then
time.
on at least you have that base energy that works already, and then you can up it or keep it to that level lah. But don't
Yeah.
dip under it.
Yeah. Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
All very makes sense. Oh, okay.
I've never spoken about yoga for so much before. I don't think.
I love it. I enjoy listening to different perspectives. Again, going back to like who you are as a teacher, this a different kind where you're not the handstanding Lululemon teacher.
Yeah.
You're the authentic teacher, and that defines.
No, the Lululemon teacher is an authentic teacher also. Let's not step
That's
on
true.
any
Okay,
authentic toes.
I take it back. So you can still be an authentic teacher and wear whatever you want and still
Correct.
look that part, all for it. But like me personally, I find authenticity to be almost the most important thing in as a yoga teacher, because you are teaching. Like, the act of teaching means that you have to teach from a place of knowing.
Yes.
You cannot teach from a place of not knowing.
Exactly.
So then, if you teach something that you don't know, that's being inauthentic. And people know, like, they know, like, hey, this feels weird. You don't really sound like this.
There's no gravitas, for
Yes.
lack of a better word, to how you are teaching the class, to what you are saying.
And it's not something that's as tangible. It's not something very tangible. It's just something very, like, what's the word? Innate. Like, it's just like, why do I resonate with this teacher but not that teacher? This
And,
teacher does all the.
sometimes, the old saying, those who can't do, teach. I think it's not, yes, to a certain extent, but no also, because being a teacher is hard. Not everyone can teach. And this applies to everything across the board. Like, even like in school last time, you had some teachers that were amazing. And then most of your teachers were just like there for a paycheck, or there because like they're on a bond, or there because like, I don't know what else to do. Then they just teach, and being and I guess the goal is to be one of the teachers that really gets that message across and engages with the student on a very real level. And that can only happen, like you say, when you are authentic, when you are real, when you are coming from a place that isn't a high horse.
Right. What you said reminded me of something I thought about before I came here. About, I was thinking about how to, or rather, I was thinking about the question that I was going to ask you. And anyway, so you said about how there are some teachers, school teachers, we're talking about, like, say, occupational, not yoga teachers, or any job. Let's say I'm a desk jockey or whatever. So I can still go and do a good job. I can make my presentations and everything, but I don't care for the company. I'm just here to earn a paycheck, yes, but I'll do a good job. I'm a ace employee, but I don't care about the sales or the whatever thing.
Yeah.
And then I related it back to how you felt about yoga, where you do a good job, you teach as much as well as you can, as authentically as you can, but you're not in love with it.
No.
And then I try to rationalize the two things. Can you still be a good at your work, but then not care for the job, not care for the occupation itself?
Yeah, because I don't care about.
Like, say, if I work in a shoe company, I sell shoes all day long. I'm a top salesman, but I don't care about the shoes. I wear slippers at home.
Yeah, but you care about the people and the connections you're making. And that's what I care about.
Yes.
I care about the people. And okay, maybe like the business as an entity, no, but I care about
the essence of teaching.
The people who work for the company. I care about what they have made, and I care about that stuff. So
So then I put it to you. This is like a catch-22, right?
Okay.
So you don't love yoga, but you teach it, and you love the sharing. But the act of sharing itself is part of the practice of yoga. So in turn, you do care about yoga.
Okay lah, don't care about yoga. I mean, okay, if we're going to go into semantics, where we're talking about yoga as a lifestyle and yoga as all the different aspects, like Patanjali's 8 limbs and stuff like that, then I do care about yoga. Let's talk about caring about asanas. I don't care that much about asanas then.
You shouldn't, because it's only like 10% of the whole thing.
But that essentially is what a yoga teacher is doing, right?
It is how people
perceive
yes. So then, all the more reason to break that perception.
Yes, but having said that though, I cannot just say I don't care about asanas, because I do greatly enjoy the physical practice. And that's what I like sharing and teaching that physical practice. And maybe if you break it down to the essence, it's the exchange of
the asana is a
the
medium.
human connection.
Yes, the practice of asanas is
the
a medium to then dive more into
Correct.
whatever
Yes.
the spiritual aspect
Yes.
of it or the
connection with another person, and I really enjoy that. I enjoy
Yoga is connection. What yoga is connection with breath, with body, with being in the connection with the present moment, connection with the people around you.
Yeah.
You're alone. You're on your mat alone. You're not like doing teamwork.
No.
But then you're in a space of 20 people, but you're all doing your own thing.
and this is why people still enjoy coming onto the mat in class.
Yeah, because
as
you can do
opposed to-
yoga at home. You can do it in front of
but
YouTube.
it's not the same, and so
It's not the
many
same.
times people have come and said like, oh yeah, but we don't like doing like things online just because it's not the same. You're at home, you're in a different space. The space in a class with people,
It's a different energy.
it's
a
the
different
energy
vibe.
of
Yeah.
that. It's the energy of that.
It's something that is not like it's intangible.
And that's what I like as a yoga teacher. I like and I don't know, maybe you can throw it back to the fact that I used to be a performer, and I used to like, performing and having the energy
There's
of
a
the
response.
audience.
There's a gift. There's
But
a
that tangible satisfaction of getting that response from people is what I like as a person, and it fuels me, and it helps me feel like I'm doing something
right.
that is more than just paperwork, which obviously is very important. Some people do very good deeds with paperwork, but I count myself lucky to be able to do a job that that is so much human interaction. But then I also like that human interaction ends, and then I can go and sit quietly by myself.
That is interesting because yes, it's sort of like you give in that 1 hour, and then the doors close, people leave,
Correct.
bye bye.
Yep.
So then it compared to like say a normal office job where you're always like talking to your colleagues, talking to the boss, having presentations, answering phone calls and all that kind of thing. There's constant
Yeah, so I can give
interaction.
100% as opposed to giving 25% to everybody for the
Spread
whole
out,
day.
yeah.
Or
Interesting.
even teaching in like a capacity of being like a school teacher or something like that. I don't think I could do that. I don't think I could do.
There's a
I
different
used to be
space to
I used to be a
hold,
children's entertainer also, and people are like, oh, that means you really like children. No, I don't fucking like children. Because
Okay,
children
okay.
are tiring.
Yeah.
But I can give you like 120% for a half an hour children's birthday party.
Okay. This is so interesting because then, for you to then be aware of this fact and to share it publicly makes me feel that like, hey, I don't need to like kids to be a teacher. What if I really like to teach? What if I really want to
Correct.
what if I want to be a fisherman but I hate the ocean? This
Yeah, like that one is a bit hard.
Oh, wait, but in terms of like contradictions, like you can still want to do this even though you don't like this. And that's fine. That's okay.
I mean, that is a
anything-
very
yeah.
like broad way to state
broad
it.
lah, I've
But
stated.
like within it, I mean, human beings are all just
Yeah.
contradictions,
Because
right?
you always think like, oh, to do yoga you must be flexible. To be a
No.
teacher you must love kids. Because that's a very generic way to think about it. Oh, makes sense. Well, then why would you want to be around kids 24 hours a day?
Yes.
So
But
then like
that is also another very blanket statement lah. To be a
Right.
teacher, obviously, you don't have to love kids, but you need to like them a great deal, or
be
you
honest-
at least need to be able to
endure them.
endure them. But the thing is, the authenticity of then doing half an hour of a really big thing with a child in terms of like singing songs, playing games, unless you are a very fucking good actor, you really need to pull it from a place of some kind of genuineness also, and then do that. Obviously, my hat's off to all those like nursery school teachers or like who spend the whole day with the children, because I couldn't. But I know that about myself lah, and maybe saying it sounds kind of shit where I'm like, I don't like small children. I could never be a teacher to small children. But that's on a whole day
What's
basis.
it like about small children? They're messy. They don't give a fuck about you.
No, they
They're
don't.
smelly.
Yeah.
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 Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you for sharing.
You're welcome.
Do you have anything else to share?
I hope
top of your
I
head?
hope this interview hasn't made me come across as a person who greatly dislikes things and just wants to sit quietly by herself.
On the contrary, I think, in your defense, you are someone who knows very well what you like and what you don't like, and you're very good with
Yes.
that boundary.
I definitely know what I like and don't
Yeah.
like, and I'm definitely a very boundaryful person in terms
Yes.
of when I'm done with
And
this.
people need to learn from, people can learn from that, because like,
Yeah.
how often are we yes people? Oh,
Yeah.
okay, I'll help you. Oh yeah, I'll meet you
But
next
you
week.
see,
you know?
the yes people is to a certain extent, and I do feel like definitely you need to put yourself out there and make that connection. I'm not scared to make connections with people. I love talking to people and finding out, but to a certain point, when I'm done with it, then I'm done with it. No?
Yeah lah, like, no, I don't want, I need to rest.
Yeah.
Like saying that, and then your friends like, hey, come on, hey, don't like that lah, hey,
No.
come, we go and drink lah, you know, the kind of thing.
Correct.
Then if you like, oh, okay lah, just to
Yeah.
placate, or just to like,
Or the other way of like, okay, yeah, okay, well, I'll see you soon, we'll meet up soon, and then
And
you
then
don't really do
ah.
it, you know. So I don't want to say things like that.
Yeah.
If I'm going to meet up with you, I will meet up with you.
so it takes a certain amount of bravery to stand up for yourself. No,
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to drink, I don't want to go out, I don't want to do this.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean I hate you, I don't want to spend time
that's
with you, I
true.
just don't want to do this thing right
peer
now.
pressure ain't got nothing on me.
Exactly. So but you know, there are people out there who hear this for the first time and like, yeah, you know, you're right. Why am I been saying yes to the thing that I never wanted to do? Why am I going to the class that I hate just because my boyfriend or girlfriend want me to go, you know? Then I need to have a dialogue with that person to say
Yeah.
like, you know, I don't really enjoy this thing. I'm just going because you asked me to go. But I actually don't. Can you respect that? You know, do we need to? And that
And it
opens
just
up a
depends on
channel.
what you do the thing for, right? If it's
Yeah.
for yourself, if it's for somebody else, there's no wrong or right answer, but are you okay with it? What are you okay with?
And that's a question as well. That's a question that you need to ask yourself. What are you okay with? What do I like? What I don't like? And if you're very clear about that, then life is a little bit easier. Life is a bit more simple. Do you want to go drinking? No.
Yeah.
Do you want to go to the theme park? Yes.
Yeah.
You know.
Do you want to do yoga? Yes. Do you like yoga? You know.
Okay.
Do you enjoy how yoga has affected your life? Maybe, yeah. You know, I guess if I think about it, yes, I've made lots of great friends. I've made lots of friends who are students who are now friends, and
It's a great place to meet people. I
It
would
is.
say. Colleagues, friend desk,
exactly.
students.
And the environment is just so much more nurturing
Diverse.
and you know, compared to an office environment. Or in
Office-
any kind of like, you know, obviously a work environment is a work environment, but there are very few places that you do get that kind of like actual thanking.
The act itself is it's already like you know, when you go for yoga class and you feel so good, you're like, wow, thanks for making me feel this way.
Correct.
It's been so long. I needed to move. It was perfect.
Yeah.
Thanks, right?
And then you as a teacher get used to it. You're like, I like that. I like feeling, you know, like
yeah.
I mean, as
you've-
human
you've made a
beings,
difference in a way.
you need a certain amount of strokes, quote unquote, each day, you know, and that's where like if you don't get a positive stroke,
Stroke mean like a sayang.
a sayang, but like this is a metaphorical sayang,
Yeah.
you know, like and as a human being you need a couple a day to function, to like fuel you.
You're right.
And if you don't get it in this positive aspect, you will get it in a negative way. You will pick that fight with your partner because
You wanna win?
no, because you want to elicit some kind of emotional response.
Whoa!
Yeah, so if you can't get that positive emotional response, then you fight or then you nitpick or something like that because you get a rise
my
and then you get that
goodness.
then you get a stroke another
Right,
way.
I get
you know?
it. I get it.
Correct. And so that's why your dog pees on your slipper because because the whole day
He's
the
trying to
dog correct.
get an attention,
correct.
a
And it
connection.
applies to your child, to your husband, your wife, whatever as well, you know?
Oh my goodness, that makes sense.
Right?
Huh.
I know things. No lah, this is I think you can like look it up online. It's
But
it is a study.
It's something that makes complete sense.
Correct, yeah.
And sometimes you do it and you snap at your
correct.
your significant
or
other
you
and
know
don't
that
even
the
know.
thing you're going to say that's coming out of your mouth is
gonna-
going to do a thing. and you're
Yes,
going to
you
fight.
intentionally
But then you're like,
wanna
all right,
stretch
we're
it
going to
up.
fight, you know?
Yeah. And there are times when I feel like, because like personal experience during COVID, a lot of things can't do.
Of course.
There was no release for me. I couldn't go yoga. All the mats are full.
Yep.
I couldn't go jiu-jitsu, no contact. So I was just storing it all up.
Store, yeah.
And then like some
Snap at people.
guy on the train is just like touching me a little too close. I'm just like, I'm ready to go. But
Correct.
then I think back, what fuck? Why am I reacting in that way? Like, it doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't make sense.
And then like you think back on it and like, wow, this is such a what's wrong? Like then you ask yourself that question, what is wrong?
Yeah.
Something is off. You need to fix it before you go and punch someone.
Correct.
And that person is like,
Nothing. They
He
don't
just-
even
he
know.
don't
They would
even
just be
know.
like, oh, sorry.
You don't even know. Yeah, he don't even know. He just like, maybe he tiao or he man spread too much.
Yeah,
but then
correct.
on my side, I'm like, oh, this guy
Yeah,
is
yeah. Why can't you just be like, dude, sorry, do you mind moving a bit
Yeah,
or
or
something like that?
if anything, you can move away, what?
Correct,
Right? It's not
yeah.
it's not his fault. Maybe he's just a big guy that is occupying more
maybe
space.
he really has big balls.
Yeah, hey, good on you.
Yeah, correct.
But then,
why can't we celebrate that as opposed to being angry about it?
but the very fact that like you reacted that way is like, then life is very hard for you.
Life
if you
is very hard.
continue,
Life is very hard.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you're making your own life very long.
yeah,
that way.
you're making things very difficult for yourself.
So-
Everything you want to fight with, wow, it's a horrible way to live.
It's a horrible way to live. So why wouldn't you just do the work for you
Right.
and find out what makes you the better person or the best / like quote unquote person you can possibly be.
So now all you need is a couple of sayongs a day.
Yeah, lor, that's it, And if you cannot get the sayang yourself from another person, then you go out and find your thing that you need to do, whether it's doing an hour of yoga, doing an hour of Muay Thai, watching TV and eating snacks.
Right.
I don't know what you need, but finding the thing that makes you happy for a little bit, And then making connections with people. I think that's very important.
Connection and creating, these are the ways to live a fulfilled life, in my opinion. Connecting, not just being out and about and connecting with your friends, connecting with yourself. Yes. And even if you're out with a group of 10 people, you're not connecting with them. In fact, the more people you're out with, the less you're connected.
Correct.
Like right now, you and me were connecting. I know so much more about you, and just as much as you know about me.
I mean, I know fairly little
Relatively,
about you
right?
now.
Right.
Okay.
The fact that you invite me to your house,
Yes, correct.
there's a
I know
there's a
you
trust.
are not
Yeah.
an ex-murderer.
But do you? But then like,
I know yoga.
but then there's 10 people. There's in a group of 10 people, you don't know anybody.
No.
So then it's about finding true connection. And then in terms of creating, there's like you're creating, say I want to make a wooden table. In that state, you're in that present moment. Like,
Yep.
okay, I'm gonna make you know when you make an IKEA thing,
Oh, it's a tangible satisfaction
Yes.
of creating a thing.
physically creating, molding, creating a pot,
Yeah.
making something.
And that's
then,
why, back to yoga, right? People enjoy that, the tangible satisfaction of
Right.
like, wow, I can do a chaturanga.
Yeah, and like whether if you're not creating something with your hands, you're creating a website, you're creating a YouTube video.
Yep.
The fact of creating is also sharing.
Yeah.
Because I create the table.
And
Hey
that's
guys, look at
why
this. Come and
freaking baking became so big during
Exactly.
COVID times and like and just art, craft work.
Craft, yeah.
Because there's such a lost art these days in our current world where
Where you're
people
using
just
your
do
hands.
computer work,
Yeah.
people just do safe and like not very many people are craftsmen anymore because why we outsource to third world countries, right? So everyone here is so nobody owns a drill. Nobody knows to put up photos on the wall by themselves. They will call the uncle to come for $10 a hole. Like just because nobody owns things like
People
that.
have lost that ability to connect
Correct.
and to create. They press a button and then the whole thing is like the internet will just create
Correct.
one.
So you
new,
just buy online. Lor.
also just like I want this design, just press, or the music come out, the design
And
comes
the
out.
instant gratification of that. It's
It's unfulfilling. It seems fulfilling, but it's not. It
but
doesn't
that's
give
why
you
the high is very fast.
fast and
the like
You need
shopping
the
when
next
you go
one,
and
you
buy
need
the
next one
thing.
already,
Yeah.
You need the next dopamine hit.
Correct. As opposed to the creation something of yours
That's
for
why
yourself.
that's why creation takes time. Disciplines like I want to learn to be a leather worker.
Correct.
You go and 徒弟, you go and study under the guy for 10 years.
Correct.
Martial arts is a discipline. And even though it doesn't seem like you're creating anything, you're still using your hands. You're still
course.
manipulating something.
Of course, anything you do with your body
Yeah.
is such a discipline.
Yeah, and that
Any kind of sport, any kind of
that
yoga,
gives you that
obviously
standard, like
also.
a handstand, right? One day you can't do it, 1 year later you can. You find some progression,
Yeah.
and there is satisfaction because you put in the time. You are physically using your hands. You're creating something. You're creating connection with
Yeah.
the body. Your what's that? The awareness when you're upside down, and
Just working towards things.
Yeah, it's
because
a
of the instant
goal.
gratification,
Yeah.
people don't work towards things. People just expect the end goal is here already. What? There's no end goal to anything, honestly. Everything is just work in progress
everything is infinite. There is no end.
until you die.
Yeah, lor. And even if you die, who knows what happens next? Okay. Take a sip. Well, it's been fun. I really enjoyed it, and
It has.
I pat on my own back for being aware, or rather like, I felt like you were someone that was interesting to talk to, and true enough.
I hope it reads well. You know, sometimes you think like, wow, we had a great conversation, then you play it back and you're like, this is very boring.
I don't know. I feel like I enjoyed myself, and that's a win for me already.
I enjoyed myself. It's always interesting to have a chat about something that I don't usually think very much about in terms of articulation of how I feel about this thing that I do now.
It does make you rethink your values, and it's also about, it's never about the answer, it's always about the question. The answer is never important. What drives you? If the answer is char kway teow, I love it, it makes my life complete, the answer means nothing, but the question means so much. Right?
How did you arrive
how
at
did
char
you
kway teow?
Why, what was it the first time that you saw the guy cook it or whatever? It's always about the questions, and then if you keep asking yourself that question, or asking yourself new questions, you change your perspective. Why are you here? What is the meaning of this? Like, what makes you happy?
Exactly.
Does doing yoga make me happy? Yes. So, okay, that gives me a bit more motivation to stay. No, then it's time to leave. But then if the answer is no, then why? You know, more questions open up more doors. And the more you don't know, the more you know, the more you don't know. And in that way, it's humbling also,
It's
right?
very humbling.
Because if you're in a place where you think you know
And
everything, it's ego, yeah.
You know, it's the same as like just kind of showing off. It's very easy to be a show off for everything. Like, you know, like if we release it back to yoga, then you know, we've all gone to the class where the teacher's just like, and then let's do this, and then they do this fanciful thing without reading their crowd, their audience, their students, and seeing that no one in this class will be able to do that thing.
So then who was this for? Was this for a platform for you to show off that like, hey, look guys, I can do the thing?
Yeah.
Or was it really like, can you guys try? Because I want you to do the thing one day.
Yeah.
So you're doing the handstand, sure, but there's two ways to perceive it. What?
Yeah.
Inspirational, and then you're putting them down.
Correct. And also just how you phrase that and put it out there, you know.
Again, it's the question, because the answer is the handstand. So what is the question? I'm good to wrap it up.
Cool.
Any final words?
No. I can't think of anything inspirational that you want me to say except, you know, like, I like yoga. I don't love yoga, but I greatly like it.
And that's okay.
Yes.
On that note, how can people reach you? You're teaching at YM now.
I teach at Yoga Movement.
If they want to know more about you, they can text you because they can't approach. I mean, what do you have an Instagram?
I do, but it's private and there's nothing yoga on it. So if you looked at my Instagram page, you'll be like, this person is just very mean.
Okay. If you want to reach out to you, they can find you at YM, go for your class.
Yes.
That's all.
Please do. Come for my class. I love new people.
Can. Do you have any, like, a website or something?
No, I don't like technology. I'm very bad at technology.
Okay. That's it.
Thanks, Aaron.
Yeah. So that's the end. Thank you for listening. As always, if you like what you hear, share it with your friends, repost it on IG, tag me. I'll repost it as well. You can also, once again, support the podcast by donating to my Ko-fi page. All the links in the description below, sponsors all there. If you have any questions you want to ask me, if you want to reach out to Coral, you can message her on IG, you can message me on IG. If you see us at the studio, you can come say hi. I'll say hi back. I'm sure she will too. Final words is just to, stay safe, stay at home, social distance, the usual. Let it all. Just That's it. Until the next episode. Okay, bye.